Hey everybody, Will here from Mature Minded Gamers, and I have with me here Eric and Ryan.
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey.
And tonight we're going to be bringing you another Kickstarter preview, this one for Tanares Adventures and Arena of the Contest 1.5. We are taking a look at the Kickstarter that is going to be coming out on the 4th of February. This one is a skirmish level, campaign, co-op, a whole bunch of different games in one. And this game looks very, very intriguing. The originally released Arena of the Contest 2018 by Jagori Games, and it did very well on Kickstarter. And we are going to be taking a look at this one, Kickstarter exclusive. Got some pretty awesome looking miniatures in this one. What did you guys think of the miniatures?
I thought they were amazing. Some of the best miniatures I've ever seen. The dragons are colorful. The details are really well done. And if I had to say, if I was going to spend the extra money to buy the painted versions, I would, just from seeing them.
I like the size. There's lots of variety in size where the minions are smaller than the heroes and then the bosses are bigger than the minion or the heroes themselves, and then there's huge bosses that beat them all. So it's pretty interesting that way.
This game has multiple different game modes, like I was saying before, player versus player, cooperative, players 1 to 8 players, campaign content about 100 plus hours, and oh my gosh, there's just so much content in this box. So Arena of the Contest is a tactical combat board game, plays 1 to 8 players with 2 game modes, player versus player, team cooperative, and team competition and cooperative mode, with one-shot adventures and an epic campaign. The Tanares Adventures expansion introduces 40 miniatures and brings over the 100 hours of gameplay mode with a cooperative and player versus player. But man, I really think this game shines with these miniatures that they have, and they look fantastic. So let's start us off by going over the different pledge levels that this new Kickstarter is going to have. First off, we have just the standard $5 for just becoming a standard backer. It does give you access to the pledge manager at the end of the campaign. The $69 pledge gets you the Arena of the Contest board game, just the original $69 backing. $99 gets you the Tanares Adventures, as well as the stretch goals. $168 gets you the Dragon Collection in addition to that. And a $249 pledge is going to give you everything from the Tanares Adventures plus the dragons pre-painted. Ryan, recently you've been talking about wanting to get back into painting. Is this something you feel like you would want to be able to paint yourself? Or do you like the idea of games coming pre-painted?
Well, I think it depends if I want to play the game or if I want to paint. Play or paint. These things look really intricate, and for somebody that's just starting painting, they seem really intimidating to me. But I think it'd be interesting to work up to be able to paint some of this stuff. Maybe start on your smaller minions and work up to some heroes before you start tackling bosses. Because you got definitely got enough guys here that you can sort of maybe start with the ones you don't care as much about, and then work up to the ones that are pretty epic.
Eric, you don't do painting at all. You, with the painted miniatures and the painted dragons, you feel like that would be something you would like to have?
Definitely. I have no interest in painting these at all either. So having them pre-painted as an option is going to be something that I'm very interested in.
But it's just the dragons, right? Like you buy the pre-painted version, the dragons are the only thing that's actually painted in that set.
Right. So, I mean, but that kind of leads you to like the other heroes and the monsters and the villains, or not the monsters, but the villains and stuff. Without those being painted, is that going to detract you from the enjoyment of the game? Eric?
Not me. Oh, sorry. Go Eric.
And no, I agree with Ryan. Not me either. As long as the game plays good, that doesn't matter. It's that wow factor when you are playing with really nicely painted miniatures, and there's something to say for that, and that's why it's such a big and popular hobby, I think, and really a skill being able to paint that well. It's such little, especially these that are highly detailed. Like I don't even think I could do it even if I tried. I mean, and make it look good. So
Well,
apparently, I'm going to hire Ryan to
No,
paint mine.
no, no. Can we go back to the Kickstarter goals for just a second, Will?
yeah, absolutely.
Because I just had some questions about it. Because one, if I understand this right, in order to get the core box, it's $69.
Correct.
If you want to get is it Tanares Adventures? It's an additional 99 to that, right?
So for $100, you get the Tanares Adventures board game, which is the part of the expansion slash core set, but does not include the original Arena of the Contest. So if you want to also get Arena of the Contest, you're going to be pledging the $99 pledge as well as the uh, add-on, because according to this page here, when you kind of scroll down on the Facebook, towards the bottom, it talks about being able to just add on the core set, the 1.5.
It has it in the pledge goal for that. It basically says the bottom core box is required. Add $69 to this pledge to receive it. So I just like we're talking about $170 game right now. As many miniatures and stuff you're going as I've been shopping around for them. I don't think that's too crazy of a price point for what you're getting, but it does. I mean, this is one of those categories of games that that's gonna you're gonna want to save a week or two before you buy it.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. The fact that I'm surprised that they don't have an all-in pledge of like literally everything. Like I'd like to see like we could talk about this $168 bundle that gives you the Dragon Collection and the Tanaris Adventures. I'm almost to the point where I'd like to see like a middle pledge, because I don't really want the painted ones. I'd rather paint them myself, but I would rather get everything all in one pledge. Personally, there's a lot in this game, and I think for being Kickstarter and being Kickstarter exclusive, the only way to be able to get this stuff is through the Kickstarter. And if you're not gonna like back everything, if you're gonna get it and you did work part of the original Kickstarter, I mean, you obviously need to get the original game Arena of the Contest. So it's kind of like you're missing out on the whole point. But
Hey,
go ahead.
well, I was going to say too, just and keep in mind this is not something you're going to get shipped overnight. I mean, the Kickstarter is going to end in April, and the original box sets aren't even going to come until October, and everything else won't come until next April, like a year and a half from now.
Right. So the core box is $69. You get 3 basic floors of plastic inserts that looks like they really did this well. Holds everything really well. It has like a top case, and these 2 top layers go on the bottom layer. Kind of solidify or kind of holds everything together so it doesn't get bounced around, as well as a perfect spot for the dragon. They did in this 1.5 rework the miniature sculpts. Let's kind of scroll on down to that part of the Kickstarter here. They've taken the sculpts of those originals from kind of like just blah design, not really much, too much detail. They look decent, but they've really added a lot of like flair and detail to these models. And I can definitely understand if you had just the 1.0 version of the base game, I for one would definitely want these upgraded miniatures, because they just look so much better. A lot of level of detail in there. So kind of back up to the base pledge here. Let's kind of go over the core game and what you're getting with that, and then we'll go over what the expansion adds. So in the base game, you're going to be getting those 3 trays. You're getting 12 heroes. Looks like some awesome looking. There's a werewolf, a barbarian, a samurai, a rogue, a cleric, a druid, an amazon, a warrior, a hunter, a wizard, a witch, and a fallen angel. Ooh, I'm excited to play that fallen angel. 11 foes, a couple looks like generic looking guys, some snipers, soldiers, sentinels, and warlord, and a huge dragon. A couple prisoner miniatures, some treasure chests, a couple 3-dimensional items with the orbs, a whole bunch of tiles. I'd really like to see these as 3-dimensional pieces as well. Maybe those were add-ons to the original Kickstarter. Some tokens, a couple 20-sided dice, a whole slew of cards, almost 300 cards in this. Looks like a lot of options in the game itself. Game board. What do you guys think about the game board?
Well, based on what I understand how the game is played, it's basically what you want is a clean slate. So you have one side that has sort of a gladiator pit arena sort of design with obstacles and things posted on it, and then on the other side it's just a completely blank slate where you're going to start using those tiles to build your own field. So I it's This game feels a lot like when we would do like battle challenges in D&D. We'd all roll up characters and just play, on a gladiator sort of battle. So I think with that in place, I mean, gives you some real creativity to make line of sight issues and hiding places and nooks and things that traps maybe that you could take advantage of. So I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, it doesn't really do anything special for me, but it's kind of what you expect in this type of game.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't wow me by any means, but
Yeah, I kind of feel you on that. I'm curious to see why, or kind of wonder why they went with a grid system. I mean, I guess more make this a board game as opposed to a true skirmish style miniatures game.
Like a movement by cube rather than like a movement, like a measurement stick.
Right. The Tanares Adventures expansion is $100. You're going to get it for $89 in the bundle. It looks like it comes with a Valkyrie, with a companion of a Pegasus. Looks like you also have a Beastmaster with a companion of a Beast. And then a campaign guide, a couple big bosses, some record sheets, player aids, a summoner with a mummy. Oh, that looks awesome. And then it looks like a warlock with a hellhound. Now, it's kind of introducing companions. I don't really see anything from the core set that really did anything with actual companions. Lots of tokens, lots of miniatures. What you got?
Well, I was going to say, I mean, when I was researching the game and whatnot, a lot of in the core set, you would have multiple characters yourself. So if you were red team, you'd have two characters, and they may have two different abilities. Like each card has a different class, and you have to have one for each class. This is just probably just a sort of an extenuation of that. So instead of having a warlock and a warrior, they just basically thematically made that warrior that you would grab for your warlock into a hellhound or something, so that at least the team feels more of a cohesive unit.
Pretty awesome. That'd be very cool. A lot more variation in the foes, the villains themselves, some skeletons, construct, cultists, specters, harpies, and wow, my favorite sculpt of all these is that ogre. Oh my gosh, he looks awesome. The sculpt is fantastic. Man, that's such a beautiful model. I definitely would love to get my hands on that one and paint it. Dragon Collection itself is $79. You're going to get a couple of dragons, a white dragon, a black dragon, a red dragon, a blue dragon, and my personal favorite, the undead dragon. Man, this thing looks sick. Oh my gosh. I guess there's also a mode that you could be able to play dragon versus dragon in this. That could be intriguing.
That's cool. Well, and like all of those things are going to be built by the community while the Kickstarter is open, right? That's what that whole, like, if you pay the $5, you can get into just that sort of creation process.
I understand, yeah. Definitely awesome. Definitely awesome. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I like the multiple different game modes that this game is going to support. And I think that's going to bring a lot of different types of players in, whether that be skirmish level players, you have purely cooperative players, and then you have those campaign players who want to just play a large campaign game. I think this game kind of levels itself to, brings itself to taking all that and doing it well. I'm really hoping that they they didn't like just add on like as an afterthought, because then there's so many games they come out with this game system and then it is what it is, and then through the Kickstarter development and stretch goals you're like, oh, by the way, we're gonna work on rules to make it multiplayer and cooperative. Oh, and then we reach this goal, we're gonna make it where it's a campaign, and it's just a kind of an afterthought. I think that was what kind of happened with the original one, and from what I understand, they've really taken that and said, "Hey, this was actually pretty neat in what we could do," and I think that's where the design for this game came from, or this expansion came from.
I don't
So,
doubt it. The three guys that wrote the game, I was reading about them. They're all pretty bright guys. One was like a chess champion, and that's where sort of the tactics come from it. And then one of them was like a lawyer, another one was like an architect. So um, they've all been into fantasy and probably doing this stuff for a long time, and they got the drive and the desire and sort of the intellect to wrap their head around something like this.
that is so awesome looking on this game. Whew. So, what do you guys think? Is this something you guys would play? yourselves, even if you didn't back it? Let's say I went ahead and backed this one on Kickstarter. Is this something you guys would play?
I want to stream this Sunday. You need to kickstart this. We'll let Ryan paint the miniatures. You both can do it.
Sunday, like in October.
When we get this to replace our Sunday stream.
Well, it's going to take us 3
after we
years
get
to
done
finish
with
pandemic. So yeah.
after we get done with pandemic, Gloomhaven, and everything else.
Definitely be one I'd like to check out. I'd love to get a copy of this so we could actually do a stream for it before the game releases. If anybody has a copy of Arena the Conquest, we'd love to hear your thoughts. I know it's kind of the hotness right now that I'm hearing about. I'd love to hear people's thoughts in the games, some things they liked about it, and some things they didn't. This preview is in no way sponsored by Jakara Games. It's just something we wanted to kind of talk about because we're all kind of intrigued by it. So, please hit that subscribe button and check us out for more content. You guys take care.